water.
Uh-oh.
Are we starting it with that?
That's in? Do you want to start it like that?
I can taste.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So we're back with this like late night DJ vibe again because we really liked it in the last podcast. So we're continuing it. So let us know if you really like this late night DJ voice vibes. How do you like it, Eric?
That sounds like, the kind of phone calls that charge you per minute.
Yo, I would be rich. I wish I could do that. I've been seriously thinking about starting an OnlyFans for my feet.
For the feet.
Yes. Like, seriously.
I saw you watching a video about that,
yeah.
and I was thinking, Jesus wept.
I texted my sister about it because I have gotten a couple people who have told me that they would buy my feet pics. So, especially cast accounts on Instagram. And like,
you could have sold your cast for money.
I know. I was offered money for it.
Oh, that's messed up.
I didn't want to.
I mean, no, it's totally fine. I'm not going to shade
fine.
your
you can't
potential
judge
market.
people.
Yeah.
Okay? Because to each their own.
I have touched the cast. It is quality.
It is quality, but, you would probably... Would you buy a piece of Mick Jagger's hair?
No.
Oh.
No.
What about Virgil van Dijk's hair?
No. That's just like, it's borderline sociopath. Like, what am I going to do? Keep it in a jar? How am I going to show that off? Be like, you'll never, like, this is awesome. You'll never guess what I got.
What if Virgil van Dijk cut off his man bun during the championship cup lift and you got a hold of that?
Like, this is the hair
that Virgil van Dijk
when we won the trophy.
Like when he played the game that he beat Chelsea and threw up the trophy.
This is like Ted Bundy vibes. I'm not collecting trophies of human body parts or hair and fingers and.
All right. Well, anyways, feet pictures are different than that, but.
And for the record, it's a quality cast. This is not just any cast. It will have a Musk. She wore this for months. She will sign it for you.
Wait, what kind of cast? I don't have any of my hard casts anymore.
Won't you bring it up? It's just fine. We'll make it up.
No, we won't make it up. I'm authentic and true and real and not fake.
You didn't keep any of your casts?
I didn't.
You don't have an inventory?
I don't.
You should have at least have 2 casts on the side.
The people that cut off my cast.
Rent for a couple months.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Evie and Eric take over the podcast still. Speaking of still, I just got to cut off the cast chat for a sec. Speaking of still taking over the podcast. Guys, we're thinking that this is going to be our last episode until we move into our new place and get settled. The reason being is that we are sharing this microphone right now because all of our equipment is back in New York City. We are sharing this microphone with my brother, and it is very uncomfortable for me to receive texts from my brother that say, "Bring me back my fucking mic." He will not answer my text, but he will text me and say, "Bring back my mic."
Though?
Is it fair?
Like, if someone took something of mine, I'd throw a wobbler.
Okay, first of all, this cord that's connected to the mic is new, and my brother used to borrow mine all the time.
I'm not putting my feet in any kind of conversation about sibling rivalries.
Second, my brother did not wash dishes for 2 months. And left the place disgusting for me
as a third party
to wash
with
the dishes.
No involvement in this. I'm just saying, if you own something, it's yours.
I understand where he's coming from, but he doesn't have to be a prick about it. He just needs to have a little compassion and empathy and understand where I'm coming from as well. I'm still trying to resume my daily activities. And
is this therapy or a conversation?
It's always therapy.
It's always therapy.
Always therapy,
okay.
Eric. Okay? This is like couples therapy, but we're not calling it that.
I'm not doing siblings therapy.
Anyways, so we are announcing officially that we are going to be put on pause. I want to resume the podcast afterwards.
Yeah.
Do you?
We need a proper setup.
We do need a proper setup. Also, are we going to change the name? Or are we just going to keep going with, oh my God, Evie and Eric? We'll have to think about that. What do you guys think? Tweet us. Name change or keep it OMG Evie and Eric?
Well, if we start our agency, does it need to follow in that brand?
I don't know.
Would it be helpful?
Are we even talking about that? Are we going to talk about that?
Let's just leave that maybe as a little nugget for post September 1st.
Okay. Yes. A check-in.
Yeah.
Because by September 1st, we want to get our little business up and running.
Functional. Yeah. I think that's when we start
a service business.
Pitching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys are Toronto based, or do we do world? Are we
Everything's
international?
on Zoom, man. Let's go.
True. Okay. If you need graphic design, video editing,
Singapore.
If you want like a wedding book,
photo
book made, or an ebook made, or stickers, or a website.
You're in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We have it covered.
We do it all. Better call.
I don't think we'll add that one to the short list. It's not going to work.
Anyways, okay. So
Better
we got that
y'all?
down. Better call
No,
y'all
it's
faves.
Eat.
Okay. Speaking of one more little housekeeping thing, we haven't. You noticed we didn't do last week's podcast on Eric.
Sorry,
I'm trying to get through this.
I was leaning back. It's just it's like a little.
For those of you that watch us live on YouNow, we didn't do our last one live, and there are reasons for that. One, I cannot not look at the chat, and Eric thinks it's very distracting to be halfway in a conversation.
Look at my face.
I am. You're so cute.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's part of the reason. The other part of the reason is because I'm having trouble downloading the podcast after the fact. Like after we do the broadcast, I want to download it for keepsake and possibly to upload it to YouTube. But there's a problem with my YouNow account, I guess. I don't know what's going on. I'm not getting answered fast enough. So we've opted to stop going live for the time being. So if you haven't seen us live, that is the reason why. Okay, I had to get those housekeeping things off the list.
It's really clean now. I like it.
I would like to stop talking. And Eric,
I gotta talk?
Yes, I want you to talk about. So Eric went to a funeral yesterday. Or sorry, last week, not yesterday.
Yeah.
Eric went to a funeral.
Don't date stamp these things. Recently,
yeah. Eric went to a funeral. And if you're listening to this in
the future,
it's a pandemic right now. It's 2020 and there's a pandemic going on, coronavirus. And Eric went to a funeral during a pandemic. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that experience.
I think all things considered, they did a good job, the people who run the show. I think there's a lot of pressure on funeral homes in general because you're dealing with like a pretty like sacred moment for people.
Yeah.
I think really though, like the thing about the funeral is it's a closure thing for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And you could just get a general sense anytime you hang out with people that you don't see regularly mm-hmm. during this thing. It's sort of like, what do I do? How do I, like, it's like an awkward half hug or like giving them elbow bump or whatever is allowed these days. So it's
and really, the subject matter is so heavy.
Well, it's both things, right? So like if I just seen a friend at a grocery store, you kind of do this awkward, like distant hello. But when the funeral is a place to console, and a lot of people do that through interaction and through physical means, whether it be a handshake or a hug or something. It's really weird to see that. I think that in this particular case, like the being able to do it outside because we're on phase whatever the hell, it allowed more people. Whereas in the beginning of the whole pandemic, I know that funerals were super limited because they were being still done inside, but people were 6 feet apart, and that almost seems even more awkward.
So wait, explain. So everyone was outside. Was everyone wearing masks?
Yeah, it was the full deal. There was masks, there was hand sanitizer. So like at the end you could write your name in the book and grab a flower and leave it in, I guess, the plot they call it. And that station had a hand sanitizer pump. Everyone was wearing masks, so when people would go up to speak, they were distant enough that they could take the mask off so they could be heard.
Okay.
And
like, were families in clusters? Like whoever you rode with was like 6 feet apart?
Unofficially, yeah. Like you kind of just end up gravitating to the people you're closer with.
Oh, okay, I see. And it was all outside.
Completely outside, yeah. The only thing, I don't know if this is normal for funerals. I just feel it's kind of awkward where, like, there's other gravestones there, and like, it just felt weird that, like, so they use like a Bluetooth speaker to play songs.
Yeah.
Like in commemoration, and it just felt weird because that Bluetooth was chilling on someone else's like headstone.
It was?
Yeah. It felt a little bit offside from the funeral director or whatever.
Yeah, that's weird.
Places like Bose.
Why would they do that? Maybe they're like, yo, this guy loves music, so he always tells us to bump it.
Yeah. I don't. It felt weird, and then there was one point. Christ, there was one point where my dad came out of nowhere behind me.
Yeah.
And he whispered something in my ear because everyone was lining up to go and sign in the book, and he just came up to whisper, like, do you want to go and get in line together? I had no idea he was coming, so I panicked and jumped, but I landed on the stems of a flower that was left.
Oh my God.
And it's not like, it's not my fault, and he made me laugh, which is also never a good thing to do at a funeral.
It's like you always want to laugh at the most inappropriate times.
My God, I went to one.
But don't you think people should be laughing at funerals?
At the right time.
Okay.
In my opinion, yeah, I think that's the best way to release it. But like, if someone's telling like a heartfelt story, my dad has this way of just like making me laugh.
Yeah.
When it's the wrong time. And this guy told the story, and it involved the phrase three-legged Derek, and it was the hardest moment I've ever had to not laugh out loud. It was quiet in the room. Oh my God.
All right, so overall, the pandemic funeral, how would you sum it up?
I think they're doing the best they can. In the end, I think the people got what they needed out of it. And I have other concerns about funerals in general, but that has nothing to do with the service in particular. It has more to do with the people who run it, like fellow who leaves a Bluetooth speaker on someone's headstone and stuff like that. Right.
Also, I have a question. Like, this person died back in March, right?
Yeah.
So where do they keep the body the whole time?
I don't know. That's like a morgue.
Is it in a freezer?
Well, in this particular case, they were cremated.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Do you want to be cremated?
I don't know. I've heard cremation is better because you're not putting a whole body in the ground, but then also it takes a lot of energy and fuel resources to burn a body.
Right.
So isn't necessarily the more environment. I really don't care what happens after I'm gone. I just want the thing that doesn't bother people or the environment most.
Yeah.
I don't need a body or a grave site or any of that. I just do the whole Osama bin Laden just dump me in the ocean kind of thing.
Jesus, Eric.
I will be remembered through pictures and objects that don't exist in a cemetery. I know, but why
do you have to be do the whole Osama bin Laden thing?
Because they just got rid of it.
Your comparisons are always to bad people in this world. They
just got rid of him. I don't need people to rent out a plot at a cemetery and pay for a gravestone.
Why? We're going to be together forever.
But that's such a waste of money.
In the grave.
The amount of money it costs to have the average funeral, I want that money put towards for my immediate family to go on a trip. That is the way you remember someone. Not by getting everyone together to have a cry. The funeral should be fun. It shouldn't be run by some random dude who's just talking about random memories that he wasn't a part of. Have the family run the show.
Of course, that's the only way to do it. Anyways, my mom has her funeral set out. My grandmother probably doesn't agree with it, but she's probably going to be dead before my mom dies. So my mom has got me an Apple playlist going with the songs that she wants to be celebrated to. And she also has donated her body to science already, I'm pretty sure.
I was thinking about this last night.
Yeah.
Not the science part, the music part. I don't trust the people at the funeral hall to know how to put on a good show.
So you're going to plan out the show prior to?
Some
Plan out the pyro. Oh, tell them your idea.
Well, see, I want a pyro. Like, okay, hang on.
Eric wants his funeral to be like a rock concert.
One thing at a time. The music has to be timed properly. Like, I feel like the last hand. I feel like I'm slandering the deceased now. It's not the deceased. It's the funeral hall that are putting it on are disrespecting the deceased. That's the better way to put it.
Okay.
They have this manky, like, Bluetooth speaker in the corner of the room, and they think they're slick as hell because they got a little iPhone with Bluetooth audio. But there's just so many, like, awkward pauses because it's like boomers trying to figure out how to work this thing.
So are you going to donate your speakers when you die?
Well, I guess, yeah, I could donate. We need to have, like, a trial run so that I know that people are going to have a good experience. And my other idea was people get like flowers and stuff, and like that's been there, done that.
Speaking of trial run, we were watching Ozarks the other day, and I was rewatching the episode, but you're watching it for the first time. And the wife goes to the funeral home and asks to borrow the hearse. And they're like, why would you need a hearse?
I'm not going in that.
No. They were like, why would you need a hearse? And she was like, oh, like Billy Bob wants to test out his last ride.
No, I will
and I was
not.
Like, so interesting.
Certain parts of that creep me out.
Speaking of my mom.
Hang on, we never said my idea.
Oh, sorry.
You're all over the show.
Oh my God, hurry up.
I want smoke bombs or flares or something pyrotechnic. I think that would be pretty cool. Like,
you guys know how people throw rice or like...
That's at a wedding.
I know. People throw rice at a wedding or like release doves at a funeral.
Such a waste.
Eric wants to give everybody smoke bombs and then flat out open them.
Like, imagine.
Raise their hand up like they're at a soccer game.
Imagine like the casket is going down and everyone gets to like rip off pyro
Red
and just throw it in
bombs.
the hole while I'm going down.
Oh my God.
You'd see it from the moon. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. I actually think, forget the pyro, I think the actual real like winner of this idea is the black smoke bomb and the red smoke bombs. Like, just have like a nice like smoky goodbye tour or moment, concert, whatever you want to call it. I'll plan that for you.
Yeah,
I'll live a day longer than you.
There was a show in England called This Is Your Life, I think it was called, like back 40 years ago, and the people who were on the show didn't know they were going to be on it. Okay. They were going about their day, and then all of a sudden they end up being walked into the room and they're on TV.
Whoa.
And the way it worked was they brought people from their life to be like, oh, hey, I'm Alex. I went to elementary school with you, and you haven't seen them in 70 years. And you tell the story of their life through the people who were important in it.
Whoa.
And to me, that would be a cool way, is if you have someone who knew you when you were 5, when you were 10, when you were 20, just
that is
30 seconds on
super
the stand.
cool. You need to show me the show.
Okay.
But second of all, I can go on a whole tangent about how like that's even one person's bias that saw you. Like, a person that saw me at school at 15 is gonna have a different experience than a person who I played soccer with at 15.
Totally.
Like, so that's so crazy. I love that idea. Speaking of my mom though, let's move on, because we got a lot to pack into this next 11 minutes. My mom. We can say this, I hope. But she's back. She's been back for the last...
I didn't know where you're going with that.
My mom has been back for the last 2.5 weeks now. Which is wild. But she's been back from Austria. She's been back for 2.5 weeks. None of my family knows. None of the world knows. She was still posting on Instagram stories from Austria, making it look like... We went back to my mom's on like a Saturday or something, and Eric and I had gotten subs. We were going to go back to my mom's to get the monitor. Eric wanted to get the monitor, do some laundry that we had left, and we were just going to do a couple errands. And when we got back, mind you, I've talked about my brother not... I don't remember did we talk about it on this podcast?
I feel like you've talked about it too much.
Too much. Okay. Anyways, my brother does not clean the house. I've had to live with him since March alone without my mom. He does not listen to me. Anyways, you know the story. We walked in and the house, Eric was like, Evie. And I was like, what? And Eric's like, I wasn't at the top of the stairs yet because I have to crawl up the stairs. And Eric was like, who did your brother hire to clean the house? The house was spotless. Spotless. And I was like, oh my God, like, did he clean? Like, he wouldn't hire somebody. Did he clean? And then Eric was like, maybe your grandma or your aunt, like my mom's sister. And
they both wanted to clean.
They did. They did both want to clean. So we were like, like this place is way too spotless. This is super weird. So you go to like the stairs that go up to the like top floor and you look up, and what did you see?
I didn't see anything because when I came in and saw the clean bits, I looked around and then I shouted like hello to see if anyone was in.
Yeah.
And I heard a woman's voice upstairs and I just assumed it was your aunt.
Yeah, because it didn't sound like an older woman's voice.
But then when I went to the stairs, like all the lights were off in the back of the house and there was kind of like a light going on upstairs, and I looked up and I didn't see anyone, and I just like opted out of that opportunity because like,
oh, you don't want to be in a scary movie and walk towards the fear?
That was frightening. So I got away from that and figured if there's someone there, they're coming down to me, so I can at least be prepared when they come down. And when I came back into the living room area where the light was,
yeah.
And then a figure came down the stairs and stood in the shadows at the bottom.
Holy crap.
And I just like, like when the camera focuses and like you're just making out what's going on.
Yeah.
I saw, I didn't know who the face was at first. And then I thought like Nick's got a friend over cleaning the house or something. And then it clued in. And then.
And who was it?
It was your mom, and I was just frozen because it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it didn't. I should have known this from her, but it did not make any sense. Like, there was some telltale signs. Like, so my mom had actually, this was like a Saturday that we went, and my mom had actually came home on a Thursday, which we were also there on the Thursday, but she saw our car, so she opted to not come into the house, and then we ended up leaving at like 11:30 p.m. at that time, and my mom ended up falling asleep at her sister's, at my aunt's. But that's the moral of the story, is that she had come home on the Thursday, but we didn't even know because her Instagram stories were still in Austria. But the one red flag that I had was that I called my mom on Friday morning to tell her about a story that had happened to me on Thursday, and she would not FaceTime me. And she FaceTimed me all the other times. And I was like, Mom, why aren't you FaceTiming me? And she was like, oh, I'm just busy. I'm doing something. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I didn't even question it. I think because I was so frazzled with the story that I was telling her, because I got into a fight with who did I get in a fight with? A pharmacist. I got into a fight with a pharmacist. Anyways, I was so riled up and I didn't even think anything of it. And then my mom was like, this girl never calls me. Like, why is she calling me now? But anyways.
We should have known from the radio in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That radio has not been on since March.
The only person that puts it on is me. I put it on once.
I've never heard you
there.
Put that on.
I did put it on.
When?
I put it on once when we were cooking.
I do not remember.
I get it from my mom. But I should have known, if the radio's on, it's my mom. Like, my mom's the only one that puts that radio on. And she like came down. She's like, damn it, I didn't film your reaction. And I'm like, yes, you're my mother. But yeah, she didn't get that film, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, she's back. She's back. It's good to have her back. If family members are listening to this, then you probably already know she's back by this time.
2 weeks is done.
Yeah, she had to quarantine for 2 weeks. She said getting on a plane was not that scary, but it was also scary because she was on a plane with another country that had like a higher risk level than Austria, and they weren't really monitoring masks and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to hear our plane experience when we go in like a week to New York City. Okay, Eric, Hamilton on Disney. Let's talk about this really quickly.
Okay.
We've only watched the first half.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see Hamilton on Broadway.
Can I... Go on.
I was just going to say I've always wanted to see it on Broadway, but the tickets are so expensive. However, now that Broadway's closed and probably won't open for a while, I was very happy to watch Hamilton on screen. And I loved it. I love Broadway shows, though. You don't. Tell us your experience.
First, looking back, I wish we hadn't watched it when we did, because we've only watched half of it. And like, I feel a type of way about doing that.
Oh my God, we can go off on so many tangents.
Just in general, I feel like this is a production that you're meant to sit down, take an intermission, and then sit down again and consume it in one evening.
Yeah.
Same with a movie. I don't think you should get too tired, stop the movie, watch the next day. Like, I feel like it's just it's
same with an episode, same with everything.
But same with like an album. Like, the artist worked to like have it consumed a certain way, so I just feel like we've not done it properly.
Okay. Fair.
That said, yeah, I kind of get uncomfortable with the idea of a musical.
Yeah.
Like, I get uncomfortable with like watching a really good story being told and people acting it really well, and then all of a sudden like a piano starts playing in the background,
and then everyone starts singing.
Yeah, and then they start
and
dancing.
It's like a poppy or like a very musical
Glee.
Yeah,
is
like
just
very
not
Glee.
my thing.
Yeah, it's very Glee, but
I just
Hamilton,
because it takes me out of it. Like, I like the realism.
Okay, but Hamilton.
I liked Hamilton a lot.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Wasn't a huge fan of the sisters because they basically were like straight up Disney musical vibes.
Just musical vibes. They like typical Broadway show.
To the sisters or people who dig the sisters.
But Hamilton was mostly rap songs, which was very cool to see.
I think that's what I liked about it, is it was like, is it Andrew Lloyd Webber who wrote Phantom of the Opera in that? Like,
I don't
every
know.
musical seems to have the same like melodic
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have something different. And they used the set really well. There was like the rotating platform in the middle. They used the staircase thingy
but
situation.
That's all Broadway shows though.
Well, it may be. I don't know.
Yeah. This one, what made it different for me was that, okay, there's pros and cons to what made it different. One is a pro and one is a con. Pro, it wasn't just sing-songy. It was rap. And I loved seeing that. Con, it was all rap. There was no talking breaks.
It's so impressive.
It's very impressive, but I felt like I couldn't breathe.
It was hard. It's hard to
like, you really have to pay
process
attention
that and keep track of the story. Because
exactly.
Also for me, it was kind of like sensory overload, because maybe I just don't, not knowing musicals, maybe I just don't have the tools yet to unpack all of those things and follow a storyline and appreciate the stage and appreciate the lighting and appreciate the music and the lyrics and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And I guess the acting.
I mean,
Is it called acting?
Yeah, totally. It is called acting. Even I get why you're questioning that. It definitely is acting. They did a very, very, very good job, honestly. But I just felt like they needed a breather, and I felt like I needed to breathe. Like, it's hard when you don't have those breaks to take in the storyline, because you really have to listen to the lyrics of the rap.
Yeah.
You know? So anyways, highly recommend watching it
I just don't
on
know
Disney
what we're gonna
Plus.
do.
Why don't we just get the password from Sarah?
No, like, I just mean like how it just feels weird to jump in halfway.
Well, we can rewatch it from the beginning if you want, but I don't really want to. I don't think it feels weird to watch a second half. We can watch the last 5 minutes of the first half to get back into it.
I mean,
oh my God, Eric.
No. I wanted to watch Hamilton to get what the hype was.
Yeah.
And I got that from the first half.
So you don't want to watch the second half?
No, I'm just saying I don't need to further my impression that this is awesome.
Okay.
This is really, really good.
But you don't want to know how it ends?
Well, because what we were saying, it was such an overload. I'm not really in the story. I'm just in the way they're delivering it.
Right, I get that.
So I'm not hooked to the story.
Okay.
I'd watch the second half, like episode 2 or whatever. Like, I just see it as Lin-Manuel Miranda doing more awesome stuff on stage, and I'm into that. But I feel like I've seen enough to know that it's really good art.
That's fair. All right, guys, we're gonna end it here.
Oh, we have a question.
Yes, I was just gonna say that, but before we do, we have two things. One is a question. What's the question?
What is the best delivery method of bread? I don't mean like truck.
Okay.
I mean
sliced
bread, wrap, pita.
Oh.
What is the best form of bread?
It's not. I wouldn't call pita or a wrap a bread.
A wheat product.
Anyways, for
crackers
me,
don't count.
Okay, what was our... Okay, first of all, the answer is biscuit or croissant, like that kind of flaky something.
There is a right answer, and that is not the right answer.
That is the right answer. Second, what did we have in our shawarma today?
I would call that pita.
Okay, pita, panini pressed. Very good. What about you?
The correct answer is naan bread. That is the correct
No.
answer. It is a little bit moist and sweet, and it absorbs curry sauce so well.
That's your answer.
No,
sometimes I
this is
find
categorically
naan bread...
the correct answer.
No, naan bread is sometimes too chewy for me, and I don't like that. And sometimes it's too thin and skimpy. Like, it has to be the perfect naan bread, and I think that's easy to mess up, where I think a biscuit or a croissant is more universally flaky than it's not.
Can I just add one more thing?
Sure.
There's an outlier. I have not tried Ethiopian injera bread, and I feel like it's not the right climate to go and eat with your hands. But when we're allowed,
Yeah,
I'd like to go to like a legit Ethiopian gaff.
Fair
and
enough.
Dive into all the dips.
Okay. And number 2, before we end the podcast, is we're going to tell you the beginning of this story. Eric has a shirt.
Number 2? Oh.
He has a... You explain just the beginning part of it.
I've been waiting for 3 years for a package to arrive.
Yes.
And I think it's arriving this week.
We hope. So because we don't have an update on this story, we're going to keep it until we come back on the podcast sometime in September. We'll see you guys then. Thanks for listening so far. Thanks for supporting us. And make sure you give us 5 stars and keep us on your radar. Follow us on Instagram at Evie Y, EVIEWHY. And then you can find Eric's Instagram on my Instagram if you want to follow him as well.
It's a lot of soccer.
We're going to hopefully...
Instagram, not Twitter.
Yeah, Instagram.
Yeah.
We're going to hopefully catch up with you guys on those platforms. And then we will be back in September. And we'll have so many updates because we'll have moved by then. Hopefully Eric will get his package by then. Maybe I'll be blonder by then. I don't know. We'll tell you guys the update. We'll be settled and moved into Toronto by then. So we'll see you guys, or we'll be in your ears again. You'll hear us again in September. Bye. Say bye.
Bye. Bye.